Hi, everyone, and welcome to Cornerstone Conversations, a little corner of the internet where we talk about issues that matter in an open, authentic, and honest manner. My name is Damaris Aguayu, and I am joined by Tazim, who I will give a moment to introduce herself.
Thanks, Dama. Okay, Tazim Elkington, the Indian Black Butterfly, leadership trainer, authentic leadership trainer, unconventional, non-traditional, hypnotherapist, therapist, regression therapist, public speaker, writer, poet, grandmother, mother, of course, and that's it.
etc. Yeah, dot. Okay, so Tazim, last time we had a conversation, a very good conversation about emotional intelligence, EQ. And during that conversation, you touched a little bit about SQ, which is spiritual quotient, something that is still very new, very rarely talked about. And we decided that this is something we'd want to tackle as a topic. So let's just get started with, first of all, you giving a summary definition of what SQ means.
So it's really more, because there's also SQ, which is known as social quotient. So the spiritual quotient is more SPQ. And just to back up a little bit, how was the emotional quotient conversation received? What were the comments like? How did that go?
I think it's something that subconsciously people know is important. It's just on an intellectual level, people know that it's important. But now putting it into practice and really being conscious of it in our daily lives is what the feedback I got. That they know it, but practicing is a completely different ballgame. So yeah, I'm hoping that actually these conversations can go beyond the knowing and now the actual practicing.
Yes, because, a lot of times I have feedback from people when I ask questions, because my work entails a lot of questioning with the person in front of me or the people in a group. And the reason we do a lot of questioning is because the questioning brings out what people are thinking and feeling. And what I find is when people say, I know that, it's a waste of time.
Right.
And the reason it's a waste of time is because it's intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
And the emotional quotient is not an intellectual process.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we do all of the stuff in our head, it is a sensing, a feeling process. And to sense and feel, people have to actually come out of this intellectual space, which is about knowing and knowledge. However, that's just data unless it's put into practice.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you for that feedback. So spiritual quotient, why is this spiritual quotient also going to become a very hot topic? So a lot of people feel, or a lot of people are raised and socialized on the basis that they are human beings with a spirit or an essence or a soul or depending on their belief system. What people miss completely is the fact that they're actually here because of that essence, which is embodied in this dense physical form. So most people get very caught up with this form and forget that the reason why the form exists is because it embodies that essence. Call it spirit, soul, God, nature, whatever. There was an experiment I watched about 2 or 3 decades ago where Scientists were looking at how to prove that there is something inherently that exists within our system that leaves when a person dies. And this experiment cost them a lot of money, millions of dollars. And they created this container which was made of material, and I think it was probably made of nanomaterial all those years ago. And it was airtight. Not a single particle could escape from this container. It was huge. And inside there, they put a person who was about to die. And it was airtight. Nothing, not even a speck could leave. So they needed oxygen tanks for the breathing, etc., etc. When that person actually died, meaning that their body stopped breathing and their functionalities halted, and that takes time, this little spark of light flew out of the body, and they were able to capture this and went through this container where nothing could escape and left. So what people need to really start looking at is that they are here because of this essence. And this essence has a spiritual containment or a spiritual makeup that we do not understand enough about. Does that give you a good overview?
It does, yes. So spirituality, just to be clear, has nothing to do with religion.
No. Spirituality is the understanding, a deeper understanding of our existence. And a deeper understanding based on the fact that we are transient beings. We are not here to stay. We will come and we will go in this dense form, do whatever it is, have the experiential life that we have, and then we will leave. So why is spirituality and religion two different things? The reason for me it's different is because religion is created by men. As much as we say Christianity was created by Christ, no, Christ did not come here to create a religion. If we really go into religion, and I'm very wary of touching these points, however, in this case, we need to. Muhammad, Christ, if we look at Moses, Abraham, Buddhism is not a religion, it is a way of life. So it is more a way of life based on the spiritual concepts. And so if we look at it, they came here to show us the way. They were way showers. And they came to show us how much potential as a spiritual being we have. And then everything got translated. And I have nothing against religion, because actually people do need something to believe in. And so religion does satisfy that part. However, people also become codependent on these religious aspects and stop and literally block off the actuality of our transientness. And then they pray to a God to save them, to get, and constantly this poor God, you know, has all these wish lists constantly being made. I want this, I desire this, give me this, make me happy. Whereas actually, if we go to the basis of what all the teachings were from these great masters and way showers, was that you have it in you to do this for yourself in this life. So learn how to separate the garbage from the gold.
Right. Right. Okay. So then that brings us back to now having this spiritual quotient. So we've determined that everybody has it, essentially, right? We're all born with it. Now, what happens along the way? Because somewhere along the way, you get people who, and you know, I might even be one of them, who get caught up in life. And just the way we talked about the whole EQ thing last time, we forget that aspect of us that makes us full human beings. So we forget to, I don't know what word to use. Let me just use the word nurture for now, but we forget to nurture that spiritualness in us. So what happens that makes
what happens is marketing and advertising takes over. I have to give consumerism and capitalism full marks on what a great job they've done to distract us from life. Really, I mean, you know, it becomes about how much and how much more, and nothing is enough. And no matter how much you have, you want more and you want more, and you work harder and you make more money and you spend more money. And generally people are spending more than they have. And then you have all the credit card bills and you have all the loans, and we get caught up in this cycle of life. And so if people stop to examine where they've gotten distracted, it's not even, you know, you can't even blame anybody. It's just the way our world has become. And what has happened now, COVID, that stopped the world, and that's the gift it gave us. You know, it gave us a gift and a curse. Curse, don't like the word so much. So it gave us a gift, and it gave us a moment, not a moment. It's now over a year to just stop and really re-examine our lives and re-examine how much you need, how much you want. Desires are a never-ending wormhole. The desires will never stop. However, when you examine actually how much you need, the basics, and how much you want, there's a huge gap between this. So this is what happened. And in the process, the wish lists to this dear God of ours have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, rather than people taking responsibility, and here's a really important word, taking responsibility for how they look at their lives, how they nurture their lives, how they re-examine what is really important. And in order to do that, you've got to be able to take steps away from the world we're living in and say, right, what really matters? What is really important? What do I need to nurture and nourish? Because today is one day and tomorrow I may not wake up. But this fear of death, which we've spoken about, added to the unending desires, added to the fact that people compare themselves to their neighbors, to their peers, to their groups, and this whole comparison thing just drives the world bonkers.
So let me ask you, what really matters to you, Tazim, as a person? When you talk about
what really matters,
what
really matters to me is, and what I've had to learn, because nobody taught me this. It's taken me more than half my life to learn this. And I had to work. I had to work at, it's hard work, by the way. Let me not make this easy or simple. It's hard work when you start to go on this spiritual path where the amount of obstacles you will meet will be many. And the first thing that I encountered was people started to look at me and tell me I was weird, there's something wrong with me, because I didn't want to be like the rest of them. That I would call people out and use my values. I had to relearn, unlearn everything I had learned, and relearn how to make my value system foundational in my life. And in that process, and then not compare myself to anybody, which meant that, you know, everybody had an opinion. But to get beyond that, so to get beyond people's opinions, people's judgments, people's expectations, and by people, I mean, including your spouse, your partner, your children, your friends. I lost many people along the way, or rather I gave them up, because there was no synchronicity anymore in what was important for them and what was important for me. And I had to go through that journey. And what really matters to me is that, you know, I keep doing this work internally on a day-to-day basis, which includes and is not negotiable, is my spiritual practice of meditation and of how I live and how I behave. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. I have no cares on anybody's opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the point of freedom for me.
Okay.
Internal freedom.
Internal freedom.
So what's really important is that I keep doing this work so that by the time, you know, the end comes, I know I've done and been what was important for me.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. Now, you talked about meditation as a spiritual practice that you carry out. Is that the only available spiritual practice, or are there other spiritual practices that people can adopt?
So before I answer that question, let's just go back into religion. One of the things that religion offers is prayer. Okay? And prayer is not supposed to be a wish list. This is what people need to understand. Prayer is creating an inner faith, a strong center point in a person, not depending on that God, because that God has given you all the abilities and capacities, is creating that central point of faith in yourself. And this is where people have lost the plot. So when you create a central point in your system of faith, and knowing that you're not here by mistake or in error, that there is something that we do not understand, and nobody's going to come and answer that question, that we exist because we exist, and put more meaning into your life, then prayer is a very strong affirmation of that inner faith. So prayer, for example, is a great tool. Mm-hmm. Then, excuse me. So those who are praying, pray without the wish lists, because the wish lists, you're supposed to manifest yourself, not ask God to come and manifest for you.
Right.
Meditation. Why is meditation important? Whether you're a religious person or not. Meditation is the space of being quiet, excuse me, of being quiet, where you slow down the noise in your head. You slow down. You know, people have really misperceptions about meditation. Meditation is the practice of sitting in silence, so quietening the noise outside, and then slowly, gradually, people find over years as they meditate, it slows down the internal noise as well. And how does it do this? Scientifically, this has been proved that the quieter your environment is when you're in meditation outside, and as you sit, your mind tends to melt off the hamsters on the wheels, the running thoughts, the craziness. It doesn't stop thinking. Here's where people have a misperception that you have to empty your mind. We are not here. We cannot control. We've got to allow the mind to stop being afraid of something it doesn't know, the unknown, the quiet, the silence, because it's there to overwork. So when we start a meditation practice, it helps us slowly quieten the external and internal environment and connect at that deepest level of who we are with ourselves, which is where creativity, which is where the source of our creation is. But with all the noise, we cannot connect. Therefore, meditation is necessary in this noisy world, inside and outside. And talking about meditation, there are over 80,000 practices, and every other month or year, there are new apps coming out. These are all Band-Aid. A lot of them are Band-Aids, okay? A lot of them are Band-Aids because they are not authentically tested and tried, age-old, ancient methodologies. Meditation is a technique. So how a person chooses a technique is really important. And now with the variety and choice, people are very confused as to what to choose. So I practice Transcendental Meditation. I've been practicing it for 30 years, over 30 years now. It'll be nearly over 30 years soon. And I started with the simple technique, effortless. There's none of these do's and don'ts and whatever. It's about sitting with a sound you're given for 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening, in an external quiet environment, and sitting with yourself. And over the years, the amount of noise that came down inside, I cannot even describe it to you. I cannot describe it, because there are points of complete nothingness, absolute nothingness, when I'm connecting with nothing and everything. And then I did the extended and advanced course, which took my meditation from, and that was 15 years ago, which took my meditation from 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening to an hour and a half in the morning, an hour and a half in the evening. This is the most important part of my life. It's not negotiable. My work revolves around the fact that I must do my practice in the morning and I must do my practice in the evening. Yeah. And therefore, everything else, life fits in around this. Absolutely. I have an amazing, sorry.
No, I mean, I like that you say that, because you get a lot of people who say that they don't have time to meditate. you know, but I like that you said that meditation is the center and everything else kind of revolves around it. Because once you're centered, then it's actually easier to hack life, right?
And it works for me because I've created my day on the basis that the maximum number of clients I'll see is 2. If I'm doing the therapy, when I'm doing the therapy, I see a client at 10:30 or I see a client at 2:30.
Mm.
And so my morning and my evening is for my practice. And I could see 3 or 4 clients a day, make more money, which I don't really need because my needs are minimal. And I wouldn't be centered. And for the work I do, it is essential that I am centered, because if I'm not centered, how can I do this work with my clients?
Right. Yeah.
So out of over 80,000 practices, people need to really consider what is authentic, because a lot of things out there are not.
So how do you know what
They're
is
really
authentic?
not authentic. No.
How do you know what to choose? What is authentic? Where does one go?
So here is my direct experience I have shared.
Yeah,
so you have to be
transcendental.
very, very discerning in what practice you choose. Because if you're not discerning, you end up doing stuff that actually doesn't help your spiritual growth.
Okay, so what else can help people in their spiritual growth? You've talked about prayer, you've talked about meditation. Is there anything else that people can practice?
People can practice being aware. Oh my goodness. People are so unconscious. They can practice being conscious. Being conscious of what they think, what they say, what they do, how they're running around like blue-ass flies, headless chicken. Mindful again, that's another word, you know, the whole mindfulness. We're not supposed to be mindful. We're supposed to connect internally at a deeper level. It's about going beyond the mind. So it's about starting to become conscious and aware of our beingness, and not on this autopilot of wake up, brush your teeth, shower, eat your breakfast, go to work, talk a lot of shit, because sorry, but people do talk a lot of nonsense. Yeah, gossip. You've got to start, even religion, even the Bible, even the Quran, and any Torah, all the texts tell you to be aware. Start being conscious of what comes out of this thing, because this mouth is the representation of the shit that you're carrying in your head. It represents how you eat. People are engorging themselves with food that is unhealthy, watching stuff that is absolutely frightful, saying things, doing things that are just unimaginable. So people need to start getting more conscious of what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they're doing, what they're eating, what they're consuming. Because the humanity we've created with capitalism and consumerism, there's absolutely no awareness. It's a very limited awareness. And unless you make a personal choice and decision to start becoming a different type of human being, we're going to keep rampaging and ruining this planet, because that's what we've done. And it had to go this way. It had to be like this. It had to be to the point where it went poof, in order for us to start bringing another type of humanity. Whether people like it or not, this other type of humanity is already on its way to becoming. So either you jump on board you know, Noah's Ark. Either you jump on board or
You drown.
you be left
Yeah.
behind.
Yeah.
And I'm not a messiah, or I'm not I'm just a regular human being sharing my personal experience, because there's nothing more than sharing the depth of the experience that I've had to go through. And it's been a tough journey. Let me say that. I would not change it for nothing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just to conclude then, what's your advice for people who might actually be looking to, I guess, I don't know, I don't even think it would be a question of giving advice, because it's a very personal thing that happens. And then this goes back to when you're ready for it. They say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So this whole spiritual quotient thing, I get that it's not something you can force on someone, right? They have to be ready for it, right?
I totally disagree.
You disagree?
I totally disagree. I totally disagree with someone has to be ready, because people are not ready to be ready.
Okay.
This is a choice. And when you understand the importance of this,
yeah.
Okay, and if you decide to be ignorant, that is a choice. Ignorance is a choice. So either you choose to be ignorant, or you start choosing to be aware. There's only two places: ignorance and awareness. So I don't agree with a lot of these cliche things that have been sold to us over the years, and these concepts, because if we're talking about frequency, as soon as you make a choice and decision that, you know, my life cannot carry on like this because I'm not happy, I'm not satisfied, there's a void, I feel something's missing, no matter what I want and how much I get, it's still not enough. Wake up. Wake up. We all have to wake up. This is a necessity. And so when you wake up and you make the choice and decision, I honestly, Dama, the number of clients that have come to me since COVID happened, people that have not been referred, people that don't know me from a hole in the wall, have just shown up at my doorstep because they've made a choice and decision, and then they've gone and they've looked for how they can get help, and they've found me. Now, I'm one person. I'm sure that there are people out there that will tell you the same thing, that as soon as you make a choice and decision, you start the energetic frequency flow towards, and you take conscious action that I need help with this because I don't know where to begin, or I don't know what to do. And then you will find the person that's going to be your aid on your journey.
Okay. So take responsibility and put in the effort, right?
Not effort, action. But before you put the action, you have to make the decision. This is a responsibility of making the decision. Taking responsibility doesn't mean that you're waiting for your teacher to knock at your door. That doesn't work.
So when you said not effort, but action. What is the difference exactly? What do you mean when you say action vis-a-vis effort? It's not something that you're supposed to.
We have to learn, we have to realize that when we get to a point of raising our level of awareness, what happens is we start living in the flow of life. When we start living in the flow of life, there's no effort. It's effortless.
Mm-hmm.
It's effortless. Now, people are not living effortlessly. People are living with so much effort, which is they are going against the flow of life.
Okay.
Everything has to be organized and planned, and objectives and goals. And, oh my goodness, where is the flow of life? Where is the flow? We're not robots, man. We're not programmed. So when we start to learn that raising our level of awareness now gets us honestly, which is the way I live anyway, since COVID, the first 3 months, I had no work because everybody was scared shitless, okay? And I totally understand that. For me, it was the greatest gift I received because for 3 months, I was meditating between March and June. I was meditating 6-7 hours a day. It was like, oh my goodness, I have this opportunity. I'm going to use it to the best I can. Okay. And I have been going through my own inner real upheaval and transformation. So it was fantastic. And then since July last year, you will not, it's incredible. It has been effortless. I do my marketing, yes, because that's just part of life, especially with the internet now being a king. However, people have found me effortlessly and trusted me, a complete stranger. So when I talk about learning to start getting into the flow of life, these are the gifts that come with it. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it absolutely does. And it looks like we're out of time now. So
okay.
Thank you. I think I have some things I need to think about as well.
Please share. What is this? What has this raised for you?
I think that part about effort has really hit me. It's like it's not supposed to be an effort. It's supposed to be natural and easy. For me, I'm one of those people who think that I'm very much about, this goal, make these plans, have to achieve this, put in the effort. That's how I am. That's how I get stuff done. And it works. But it's a lot of work. So maybe it doesn't have to be so much work, right?
No. Life is not, when people talk about work-life balance, I ask them if they're out of their minds, because we didn't come here to be slaves and work 12-hour days. We came here to live and experience. So even that equation has to change. And it's about life-work balance, which most people don't have. Okay. Look at the people in the Amazon forest. Do you think that they talk about work-life balance? Or those people that have refused to get into this whole consumerism, capitalism world? They are living. They are experiencing. They can wake up and sit and watch a bird. Okay, that's pushing it. I understand for a lot of people. I'm able to do it at the moment. I'm actually able to watch a bird for a period of time when I sit on my balcony. I didn't have this for 12 years, okay? Since I came back to Kenya. And to be able to do this, for me, is like, nature. We have disconnected ourselves from nature externally and from our inherent nature internally.
Yeah, and I think what's important to also make very clear is that it's a journey. You've said that you've worked on this for over 30 years now. So it is, I think that's where you have to be patient and know that it's a process and trust the process, right? And not forced to be in a place where you're probably not supposed to be at that time, but just go with the flow and see how it all unfolds.
Yes, and one last thing, when you start to meditate, your intuition sharpens up, which everybody has, okay? And that's part of the emotional quotient. And that intuition now becomes your guiding light.
Yeah. There, I agree. Yeah, 100%.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We will talk again soon.
Okay.
And our next topic, I believe we're going to tackle responsibility. So I look forward to
Lead
that.
straight into it.
Yeah.
And after that, I would love to do one on parenting.
Yeah, that's a big one too.
Yes, I mean, at 60, I have the right to be able to speak about
Right.
parenting because the amount of lessons I've learned. So always a pleasure, Dama. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those wonderful insights. Guys, if you like what you see, please subscribe to this channel, and then you'll be getting notifications every time we have a new video. Thank you for your time, and see you again soon. Bye. Bye, Tazim.
Bye.